Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. And shout out as always to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. It is Thursday, July 31st. I know I say this every week, but we got a lot to talk about in the world of wrestling. We got SummerSlam this weekend. AEW is coming off a big show where they had an AEW World Title defense on the show, not in the main event, but still on the show. It's our first show since Hulk Hogan passed, Jensen. So I'm sure you have some thoughts on that. And you know, there's independent wrestling this week. There's a Bloodsport show, which is one of my favorite indie shows. The new WWE ID champions are going to be crowned, so a lot to talk about. But Jensen, how you doing?
Doing good. Yeah. Had last week off. Hope y'all enjoyed the interview that we posted with Jameson Shook, the winner of the SCI 2025. And they also had his event that he promoted, My Kink is Karma. That was over on IWTV. Use code Fight Talk. If you want to check that show out. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, with the passing of Hulk Hogan, I have wide range of emotions when it comes to that, as I'm sure a lot of people do. Yeah, and SummerSlam looking pretty interesting. First ever two-day SummerSlam that we're going to be getting. So a lot to get into. AEW is looking good. I enjoyed the show last night. I think Hangman's doing awesome as the champion. Like there's a lot of good stuff going on in wrestling right now. I watched the entire WWE Unreal series on Netflix. So if we want to talk about that at all, we can get into that too if we got time or if anyone wants us to. So yeah, if you guys got super chats and all that good stuff, send them our way. We'll answer your questions. We'll put your statements up on the screen, all that good stuff. But yeah, this should be there's no lack of topics for today's episode.
Send your super chats in, everybody. Leave a thumbs up on the video. That helps us out. If you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on demand, subscribe to the channel. Leave a thumbs up still, even on demand. Leave us a good review. Leave a comment down below if you're listening on demand, anything like that. I don't want to start on a dour note, but because it is a week past now and we did not do the show last week, I'm not going to play the bumper for this because it feels a little weird to play Nick Gage saying, let's give a big motherfucking shout out to Hulk Hogan who passed away 1 week ago. Jensen, when you found this news out, we were on air. SP3 and I were on air when this happened, and we were reviewing Dynamite and the news came across my feed and I was just like, oh shit, Hulk Hogan passed. What were your thoughts, Jensen?
Yeah, I was working and I just saw it popping up. I saw the TMZ report like pretty fast. And then like everything else, I go and look over at, Sean's X, that's who I'm always, obviously I'm biased with Fightful and all, but I consider Sean to be the most reliable wrestling source in the industry. So, I always want to go over and check out, his account, make sure, because if it's legitimate, he's going to definitely let us know. And by the time that I had looked, he had already also posted about it as well. So, yeah, it's everyone's going to have to, I'll preface this by saying you're going to have to hear me out all the way through on this because there's going to be people who agree and disagree with a lot of what I'm probably about to say. And there's going to be a lot of overlap between both groups throughout this. But I do need to just start off and say, when it comes to Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the wrestling character, one of the most important people that's ever existed in my life. And even if you weren't a fan of his or whatever, like we're probably not sitting here even talking about wrestling. Maybe it exists, but maybe it looks totally different. Maybe it never goes mainstream. And this man was the face of that happening twice, the two different booms in wrestling. So for full transparency of like me as a wrestling fan, I got into this in like the early 90s as a WCW fan. So I was like 6 years old when I started watching wrestling. It was probably around 1994, around the time Hulk Hogan he was still in the red and yellow. And you know, so my perspective of this is even different than somebody who grew up a little bit older than I am, who would have seen like the original WrestleMania and WrestleMania 3 and stuff. I'm coming into it after that. Even from my perspective coming into it, I knew Hulk Hogan, like before I even knew what wrestling really was, I knew who Hulk Hogan was. And you know, the first wrestling storyline that I was a fan of, we talked about it here on the show before, but the first storyline I ever got into wrestling was the Hulk Hogan versus Dungeon of Doom storyline. Like it's like one of the worst storylines ever in hindsight.
Greatest storyline.
But yeah, when we were, especially when we were 6 years old, it was like, you know, so there was that. There was the whole NWO boom. I mean, we grew up through that. That was an era where like I liked wrestling before that and nobody else did. And then all of a sudden everyone was wrestling fans. It was like one of the most fun experiences of my life. Like I remember going to school and I grew up in Atlanta. So there was especially buzz around the time when like he wrestled Bill Goldberg and stuff like that. But there was always like that Tuesday after Monday Nitro, everyone would come in and everyone in school was talking about what happened on Nitro, what happened on Raw. And Hulk Hogan was a humongous part of that. One of my favorite childhood memories was Lex Luger beating Hulk Hogan on Nitro and putting him up in the torture rack and like the whole locker room celebrating with him on his shoulders and stuff. Like I have a lot of really, really important memories in my life that are attached to like things that like moments of like Hulk Hogan. So it's weird. Even in 2002 or whatever it was, I think it was 2002 because my mom had just passed away. And that was when Hulk Hogan was doing his return to the WWE. And even then, like I was able to use Hulk Hogan as an escape from like dealing with the grief. It was like this fun era of like Hulk Hogan coming. It was just fun to mark out. Like everyone was just marking out for this crazy return of Hulkamania and the match with The Rock and winning the title from Triple H and all this stuff. So like I have a lot of really important like core memories in my life and a lot of happiness. Like Hulk Hogan brought me a lot of happiness in my life. He really did as a professional wrestling character. But there's the other side of Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, that was not a good person. And he was admittedly not a good person. And he was racist. And he didn't apologize for a lot of the stuff that he said. And he disappointed a lot of people. And you take that, and then you also can easily also attach and pile on, as you should, all these other things. Like there was a lot of things that Terry Bollea did as a human being. He messed with a lot of people's careers. He didn't take any accountability for these bonehead decisions his son made. He said really stupid things to his son when his son would get. He said that racist stuff to his son in those recording, like in like the police or the jail call, talking about I don't want to get reincarnated as a black guy. And it's kind of like he said, like he was straight up racist. Like so, I completely understand why there's people out there that will not forgive Hulk Hogan, and and they feel a certain way about it. Like I totally understand. It may sound weird and it might not be right, but I'm able to an extent separate the two when I'm watching Hulk Hogan on my TV screen, but it's like you can't not see it though when like eventually the fans, like it all became one and the same. And then by the time he was done, Hulk Hogan's getting booed in front of live audiences and stuff. And it's like, at that point, like just like no one really wanted anything to do with Hulk Hogan at that point. And it's like, I can't blame people for feeling that way. And I feel that way about Terry Bollea, the human being. I totally do. I don't think Terry Bollea was a good person. I'll say it a million times. Hulk Hogan, the wrestling character, gave me a lot of joy throughout my life. So I have mixed feelings about it. Like a lot of people do, so it was a sad thing. Like, it's sad to see. So, like, I'm not going to celebrate anybody's death. I think some of the stuff people were saying on social media was too far, but I also know that this was somebody who was a hero to a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. That, like, if Hulk, like, if some like lower to mid card wrestler had like said these things, people would have just been like, fuck that guy, like, and just forgot about it. But like, Hulk Hogan was like the hero of like generations. So when he says this stuff, it's like, you've really stabbed everybody in the back, it feels like. And it sucks. It sucks that somebody that's given me so much joy and something I love so much, like pro wrestling, is always also going to be rightfully attached to who he was as a human being. I don't know what else to really say about it. And I hope I didn't say anything that was like too out of line there either. Like, I feel really, it's shitty. It sucks that he was a bad person, that he wouldn't even like take accountability for this stuff. Like, it's that's not something of the guy on TV was telling us to eat our vitamins and do the right thing. But the guy behind the scenes was like a total asshole. And that's unfortunate.
I don't think you said anything out of line. You certainly didn't say anything worse than SB3 and Howard saying.
Oh, no. I mean, well, that's the whole other side of it, too. This is also coming. I mean, if you're listening to this audio and you've never seen me before, this is coming from a Jewish white dude. Like, if I was of other backgrounds, I probably would feel really a certain way about this. You know what I mean? I'm not going to speak for other communities. I'm just going to give you how I feel about it from my perspective. But I've seen, for instance, I think a good perspective. I saw Reg and Phil. I saw their video about it. And I was like, this is a perspective that I could understand. I mean, for being Jewish, you replace some of those words with some of the things anti-Semitic stuff people say about Jews. I'd be saying, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want anything to do with the dude either. I'm offended for what he said, and I'm not even in that group. I can only imagine how they feel, and I'm not going to speak for them. But I'm sure there's people who said a lot of things a lot worse than I did. But yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. Like, it's I just hope that like this doesn't continue to happen too. Like, hopefully more of our heroes don't wind up like this, because this kind of sucks for everybody. And I also feel bad for it's like I feel bad for this family and I don't at the same time. I feel so conflicted about all of it. Like, I think Nick has done really stupid things too. And he didn't take accountability for any of his stuff. And Hulk enabled him to do a lot of that stuff. He never, I mean,
Hulk definitely enabled him.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, like, even just like a couple of years ago, you can watch the body cam footage on YouTube. Like, Nick was like driving intoxicated again, like within like the last couple of years. And the Hulkster shows up in the middle of the night, like hobbling around. And like, all he's concerned about is, like, where's Nick? What's Nick's bail? Like, it's nothing about like, my son fucked up again. Like, is everyone else okay? Like, it was all about like, how do I get Nick out of this? And it's like, you can't even from like, you can even take all like it sounds so messed up to even say it, but you can take all the racism out of it, and just the stuff we're talking about, plus all the lies and all the people he screwed over, and like, even on that, you could have a reason to dislike the guy. So it's like,
yeah, no, I'm with you. I've said enough about Hogan. I feel similar to the way you do, and I put out there after his passing, like, you can't take away the childhood memories that I have of Hulk Hogan, but you also can't take away the person that I learned who he was as I grew up. And I put more stock into the person that he was and that I learned about than me crying when he lost the WCW title at Halloween Havoc. Like, all right, that happened in my childhood. I'm over that. This dude sucked as a human being. So,
yeah,
that's what it is.
When I've seen people not make the direct comparison, but I've seen Chris Benoit's name come up, because that was obviously like the most controversial thing probably that's like ever happened in wrestling, was that whole situation. And I will say, when I can't even watch, like, that to me is like, I can't watch a Chris Benoit match without thinking the entire time this guy's a murderer. Like, that's literally all I can think about. So I can't even like watch his matches. With Hulk Hogan, I'm at least at the point where I can go back and I can watch some of that stuff I grew up on and like kind of relive those memories, but it's always going to be in the back of my mind. Like, you know, that other stuff's always going to be in the back. I know too much. I know too much about how the what do they say when how the sausage is made or whatever. Like, I know too much about the person, the performer. And this happens in other lines of entertainment as well, by the way, y'all. I mean, like, how many actors and actresses are out there and stuff, producers and stuff like that we grew up on that, like, you found out later, like, you might love the movie, but the person playing the character was not a good person, or the person giving those people the roles were not good people, you know? So, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate. We're in this for the entertainment, but like, there's real people that play these characters that we become attached to. So,
all right, we can move on from Hulk Hogan. It's been a week.
Yeah, it's been, well, that's that. We'll talk some current wrestling.
Yeah, we're gonna jump around. We might actually close with WWE because there's a lot to talk about with WWE. So
yes,
we're gonna go to the indie spotlight.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
I messed up my bumpers, by the way. The Hulk Hogan intro would have been by Billy Corgan saying we're going straight up the middle.
I didn't want to correct you, but that still wouldn't have. I mean, either way, we didn't need to put a bump. If anything, we would have had like have a special bumper for.
I'm not doing a special bumper for Hulk Hogan.
I know that you aren't. That's why I was saying, I was joking. But what do you want to start with the indies?
WWE ID title matches this weekend. So we got the men's title match. It's going to be Jack Cartwheel and Cappuccino Jones. Who do you think's going to win the men's WWE ID title match?
I'm torn on it. Like, y'all know that Jack Cartwheel is our boy. He's on the show multiple times. We haven't ever interviewed Cappuccino, and it's not because I dislike Cappuccino. It's just for whatever reason we haven't interviewed Cappuccino. And now that he's signed somewhat, like, I don't know what the access is to be able to get him, but I would love to interview him someday. I've been watching both these guys for a while. They've been teaming together on Evolve. For people who might not know, like, they've been a tag team for a little while now. And their styles complement one another nicely. And them teaming together seemed a bit random, but at the same time, it like feels like it makes more sense because now they're going to be it makes the title match even more interesting because they at least have somewhat of a history with one another, and they're technically still a tag team on Evolve. So I don't know. I really don't know who is going to win. Like, there's not really, I mean this in a good way. Like, there's not really there's not like a bad reason to do for either, if it makes sense. Like it can go either way. I'd be fine either what I'm trying to say is there's no reason for either not to win. So it's like, if someone's going to make history, which is pretty cool. I would say, personally speaking, and this is bias aside, I would personally like to see Jack Cartwheel win, mainly because he works more indie shows, at least the ones that I cover. So, I'd like to see him defending that title on the indies, because that's not to say that Cappuccino doesn't work indies. Just once again, I just see Cartwheel more often. And a big part of what interests me about these championships is that, for people who might not know, there's a stipulation where, like, if they're out there and they're defending the title on the indies or whoever they're defending against, if somebody wins that ID championship, that championship automatically becomes an ID contract for that person. So, like, if someone on the indie scene who currently is not WWE ID'd beats Jack Cartwheel, Cappuccino Jones, whoever the champion winds up, that next person, if they're not currently signed, they get signed to an ID deal by winning that title. So at the end of the day, whoever wins the title, whether it's Cartwheel or Jones, whoever wins, I just hope it's whoever is able to, like, defend their title on the indies more regularly and, like, the shows that I cover. I mean, I'll be covering any show that title's defended on, to be fair. So, like, but there's like a list of, not really names off the top of my head, but like there are people that I have in mind that I would really like to see that title get defended against that aren't currently in the WWE. And I feel like Cartwheel would probably have the best chance of wrestling them in the nearest future. But that's, anyways, who do you think is going to win?
I want it to be Jack because I like Jack. Jack's a very nice guy. And yeah, he's fantastic. I do worry that he does too many indies, and they might look at that as a bad thing, where Cappuccino Jones does more select indies and they can protect that a little bit more. Or we might just see Jack doing less indies because he has this title and he's not going to be on a GCW show just in a random scramble match and, as the WWE ID champion, not winning that match. So that's why I think it might be Cappuccino Jones, is he feels a little bit more protected as far as bookings go on the indies, where Jack he just takes bookings and he goes out there, he does his stuff, and he might win or lose, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I know he's a WWE ID talent, but unless he's facing another WWE ID talent, they don't care who wins and loses that stuff. As the champion, they might care a little bit more of him winning and losing. That's why I think it might be Cappuccino Jones.
Well, they have to care because, if someone beats him for the title, then that would
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not even for a title match.
Yeah. Oh, right.
But not even for a title match. Like, Jack will just have like a random singles match against somebody and lose.
Right.
Even if it's not a title match, they might not like, we're not just going to have you lose random singles match on this GCW show.
Right. No, I know what you're saying. But yeah, both guys are good candidates. So I'm happy it worked out that way. And there's a good list of contenders already that are already either signed to the WWE or have ID contracts that, would be really good matchups for either of them too. So it's a good starting point for the titles.
And then the women's title is Zara Zacher against Kylie Ray against Zeta Steele. Who do you think is going to win that?
That's tough because I feel like Zeta Steele is the one that they've been like spotlighting, pun totally intended, the most. I feel like she gets the most screen time, and being a part of the Vanity Project, they're always like, she's highlighted a lot on the show, like on those shows, and she's also worked a lot of indies recently as well. Kylie Ray, I was the most surprised as far as like that she got ID'd rather than just like signed, if that makes sense. Like I was kind of expecting if Kylie Ray was going to the WWE, she'd like get a WWE contract just because she's been around so long. She does have some experience on TV and stuff, but she has a lot of experience. She's very, very good. And so like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if she won the championship. She's also had like this thing going with Wendy Chu in Evolve, but that's kind of done with now. But I like all three women. Zeta, they've already got they'll probably do Zeta Steele because they've already got Jackson Drake's got the Evolve title, and they can do kind of like that stable starts like getting more gold kind of thing. I could see them doing that. So I'm gonna go with Zeta Steele.
I'm going with Zeta Steele as well. I think that Kylie Ray would be a great option. I don't foresee it being Kylie Ray for kind of the same reasons that I mentioned about Jack Cartwheel, and she does a lot of indies, and they might feel some type of way of her just losing random matches on the indies. Zeta's a little bit more, again, very similar reason with Cappuccino Jones, a little bit more protected on her indie bookings. And I think they also see big potential with Zeta, and they showcase her fairly well on Evolve. And same with Kylie. Kylie gets showcased on Evolve. Like before there was a women's championship, she was actually in a big time feud with Wendy Chu, and she lost that feud, but she at least was still in a big time feud with. I think she lost one of the main matches.
She lost, and then she wound up like she wound up winning her way like into the 4-way match for the championship.
Right.
But now she she didn't for the Evolve Championship. This is confusing because we're talking about ID titles and Evolve titles that all kind of live within the same like niche corner of the WWE universe.
Yeah.
There's almost an argument that could be made that like you don't need Evolve titles because like you might as well just have the ID titles because most of the talent's already on Evolve or going to be on Evolve. Like they debuted quote unquote Marcus Mathers a few weeks ago, but it's like he was already obviously in the WWE system, the ID system. Now he's just being shown on Evolve more.
You really don't need both of these sets of titles, honestly, but they're doing it and they're going to continue to do it. So what can you do with that kind of stuff? I think Zeta Steel is going to end up winning here though.
Yeah.
All right. The other indie spotlight, you went to 1FW SummerStage last Friday, correct?
Yes. Last Friday.
And you wanted to specifically point out Brady Booker winning the cage match to become the 1FW heavyweight champion.
Yeah, so first off, I wanted to say cool setup at Center Stage, as always. Based on our conversation with QT and some of the other stuff I've been seeing and hearing, it seems like they're hoping to run Center Stage on a more regular basis if possible, which they got a good turnout. I think that they should do it. I mean, there were surprises at the show, too. Like, MJF was announced to be there, to be doing meet and greets. But did appear on the actual show. I don't know what's going to actually air, like as far as like what they'll put up if and when they put this on like their YouTube or whatever streaming platform this is going on. They're going to start doing live or tape shows for like an actual series soon too. 1FW. So like maybe those matches will be a part of that series. I don't know how that's going to work yet. But my point is, MJF appeared for the live crowd. Darby Allin appeared as well. So there's some big. Brody King wrestled in a match. Like he was.
He replaced Colton.
Right.
Yeah.
So against our boys, the frat house, but yeah. So anyway, cool setup, and I'm hoping to I'll attend more of those if they keep coming here. The more indie wrestling around me, the better, especially on venues like that. As far as the main event. Yes, I did want to give a shout out to Brady Booker. He won the 1FW championship, excuse me, in the steel cage. For people who don't know who Brady Booker is, I had to double check his name. Bodie Hayward. I always forget that name. Weird name, how it's spelled. It was Bodie Hayward. It's like I always forget. BOHDI? Is that how you spelled it?
Yeah, BOHDI.
BODHI. Bodie Hayward. But I liked his work in NXT Level Up. Like I covered that whole show, that whole series from the time it was 205 Live all the way through NXT Level Up. And now the spiritual successors pretty much evolved. But he was Bodie Hayward in Chase U. And he reminded me so much of Lex Luger. And I remember in a good way, by the way. People kind of like hate on Lex Luger or whatever. I love Lex Luger. Yeah, especially once again, we're talking about the age that we got into wrestling. Like Lex Luger ruled, okay? I was just telling y'all, one of my core memories as a child was Lex Luger making Hulk Hogan tap out to the torture rack and beating Hollywood Hogan for that WWE championship. Like, I love Lex Luger. Even when he joined the NWO Wolfpack, like that was a cool moment at the time. Anyway. Bodie Hayward reminded me a lot of Lex. And on the Weekender, when I would review these shows, I kept talking about how, like, if this guy just used the torture rack, like, this would be so sick. Like, just do the torture rack. And eventually he started using the torture rack as his finishing move. And I was marking out. I was like, this dude, like, they're going to make this guy like the new Lex Luger. I had all these weird ideas. And I shouldn't say weird. I had all these ideas for Chase U. Like, because I kept seeing these members like on NXT Level Up, but they weren't really doing anything at the time of importance on the main NXT show. And I always liked was it Harlem Bravado? Was it Andre Chase?
Andre Chase, yeah, that's Harlem Bravado.
I always like, but even like as a tag team before the WWE, he was good. I don't know. I've always talked about how like I thought Jack Cartwheel, even years ago when he was on the indie scene, even then I was talking about how Jack Cartwheel should get brought into the WWE and be the male cheerleader for Chase U. Like come out and do like crazy gymnastics and stuff. Like for the I just thought it was like it would have been a cool idea. Anyway, Bodie, I saw a lot of potential in, and I thought he was really starting to like come into his own, and he was getting better. And then he randomly was a part of like a group of cuts or something. Like he just got kind of like let go. It wasn't like his contract ran up or anything, I don't think either. I think we just got cut with like a group of people, and they pretty much replaced him with Duke Hudson, if I remember correctly. Like they just like made Duke the new member of, and nothing against Duke Hudson, but like I don't see, is he still in the company?
No, he also got released. This was a while ago. He's been on the, he's been at least doing videos. I don't actually know if he's done like a match on the indies.
You're right though. I remember seeing some sort of video he made himself, I think.
Yeah, he did. He was doing like a split personality type of video. He has done a couple of matches on the independent scene, but not anything since April. And he only did 2 things in April. And yeah, he was released in February. I believe he was part of that round of cuts. But yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah, anyway, Bodie pretty much got replaced by Hudson, and then Bodie's a guy who we'll call him Brady now, Brady Booker, who's still only been wrestling for like 3 or 4 years, like in his whole career at this point. He's already coming off from the WWE. He's not obviously, or at least not to my knowledge, I don't think he's signed to AEW or anywhere else. Like I think he's pretty much grinding the indie scene, or like mainly like 1FW. They're really trying to make 1FW like a real, not that it isn't already legit. It obviously is. It just a good business center stage. But like, there's companies like Maple Leaf Pro and stuff like that really, they're like that one step. It's almost like a bridge between indies and mainstream. It feels like with the level of production and the talent and the big names that come through there and stuff. It feels like 1FW is like kind of trying to be or is becoming that. And that's a good spot to be in if you're someone like Brady Booker with like low level of experience in the grand scheme of things, just a few years of experience, great look, great on the microphone, super charismatic, continues to get better match by match. Every time I see him, he's better than the last time. He's already had good mentors, and he's learned in the WWE system, even though he wasn't there long, that's still super valuable knowledge that a lot of people will never get. And 1FW seems to really be behind him as their guy. So, yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know, if you were a fan of Bodie Hayward in the WWE, if you were paying attention to NXT Level Up back then, and you're wondering what the hell happened to this guy, he's Brady Booker, and he is the 1FW heavyweight champion.
Any other thoughts on the show?
I mean, like I said, the surprises were cool. Jay Lethal and Adam Priest. I didn't get to the building by the time the match happened, but there were people that showed me some clips of the match, and it looked really good. I mean, as you would expect. I just think it's really cool that Adam Priest, like, I hate saying this. If Adam Priest was like a few inches taller, he would have already been on TV everywhere. It's just like, it's so like, he's so good, and everybody knows it. Even Tony Khan himself said it, and he'll get his opportunities. Like, he's too good not to, but it's like, I don't know if I've seen anybody, at least in like the last handful of years, that like is clearly just being held back because of his size. Cause like his talent is through the roof. And him and Jay Lethal, as you'd imagine. Also, shout out to Very Morales. This dude's been around for like forever, and everyone always just compares him to Juventud Guerrera, and he hates that. And if he hears me say that, he'll probably actually potato me in person if he sees me. But he got the win for the breakout title. Isis Reed became the women's champion. Shout out to all those women as well. I've talked about how Hyena Hera, I remember her pulling ticket stubs basically at Battle Slam shows years ago, and now she's like really good, and she's getting better and better. I've always liked the Renegade sisters. I've got to call their matches in CDW, so I've got a soft spot for them. And Helica Risk, it was good to see her doing her thing, and she was very, very nice when we interviewed her the other week. And Isis Reed, the new champion. So they got 1FW's got a lot of really good stuff going for them. And yeah, I just don't know what their distribution plan is, like who's going to get to see this stuff and when. But hopefully you guys do. And if you don't, if you're in the Atlanta area, come watch it live. They're doing a lot of shows, by the way. Like it's not like they just do center stage. Like they're running all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of their shows are like Fridays, and that's the only thing that's with my work schedule. And I work later on Fridays some weeks, so it's just I really wish they were running like Saturdays or even Sundays would be even better. But the world doesn't revolve around me, obviously. But I'd get out to more shows if they were on days if I was able to. But they're doing great things. They got all my support. So
hopefully they get the show up to where we can watch it sooner rather than later. Because especially since we had a lot of people on from the show, I'm very interested in checking the show out. So glad you had a good time though overall.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's get into the AEW spotlight.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
MJF is potentially out of the Hurt Syndicate. Shelton Benjamin said, "You're out." He gave him a thumbs down. That's 2 thumbs down after Bobby Lashley gave him a thumbs down last week. It looks like MJF is out. But I pose to you, Jensen. Is this a swerve?
I mean, it kind of seems like it would be because just like how like blatant Shelton was with kicking him out, almost like it was like I wouldn't say like too good to be true, but you know what I mean? Like it was like, but at the same time, I wouldn't hate it if that was just the end of it for MJF. Like, I mean, I like MJF in the Hurt Syndicate more than I thought I was going to. I will say that. And I don't think that this is totally the end of it because I think MJF does have this relationship with MVP. And like, that's a big part of the story is like MVP's wanted him in the group this whole time. And the others hadn't, and he'd won them over. But then Shelton's like talking about how, MJF got him like this fake ass watch and stuff. And it's like, if MJF actually did give them a fake Rolex, they wouldn't want to hang out with him. But if it was if it's a swerve, then, I guess that's possible.
So the fake Rolex thing, we talked about this in the weeds this morning, but Shelton was the one who asked for the watch. So does MJF just always wear this fake Rolex? Is it one of those things where he acts like he has money, but all the good stuff is really at home and he's just going to wear, the knockoff stuff on television because all the poors are too stupid to know the difference until someone asks for your watch and then you can tell the difference? Or is MJF actually poor and he has a knockoff Rolex and not a real one?
So that's a good question because RIP to the GOAT, Aaron Carter, but that really reminds me of a few years ago, Aaron Carter gave a chain that was around his neck to Adam 22 from No Jumper. And then they tested the chain later on and they claimed the chain was fake. And Aaron Carter claimed it was real, but everyone else claimed it was fake. Also, he gave a fake chain to Logan Paul, I think. He switched chains with Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul said Aaron Carter gave him a fake chain. So there are people that do that, apparently, which you just described. MJF could have just been pulling an Aaron Carter and wearing around fake jewelry. And now, see, what was smart about what Aaron Carter was doing in the case of Logan Paul was he got an impulsive chain in return for his Aaron Carter chain. Logan's chain was real. So Aaron Carter was up a real chain and Logan Paul was down a fake chain. So that totally could have been what happened with the Hurt Syndicate.
How did we get here?
You just described that exact scenario. MJF's wearing around. You just threw out the idea that either one or two things. Either MJF is walking around with fake jewelry on like Aaron Carter was, and then when he was called out for it, it turned out it was fake. Or it's all a giant swerve and they're all in on it. And Logan Paul knew it was fake from the beginning. Adam 22 knew it was fake from the beginning. And it's all just a giant work. And like someone in the chat said, Aaron Carter beat Shaq. So I mean, it's all work.
Also true, yeah. I did not expect that turn of let's talk about Aaron Carter giving fake jewelry to Logan Paul and Adam 22, who I don't know who the hell that is, but sure.
Don't Google it, anybody, especially if you're a kid. Don't.
I don't plan on it.
Okay, so he but yeah, I mean, and listen, rest in peace to Aaron Carter. That guy, he boxed Lamar Odom. People overlook this. If that fight,
that's a real thing that happened. I remember watching it.
Dude, if that was no glove or I would say if those were like UFC gloves, no headgear, Aaron Carter might have actually won that fight. And people think I'm crazy. He walked in there and hit Lamar Odom in the face unanswered for the first like 20 seconds of that fight nonstop. But Lamar was wearing headgear. They're wearing giant gloves, and like he just got hit like a punching bag. But anyways, that's a whole rabbit hole we don't have to go on. And I'm seeing LTP in the chat. Yeah, we don't need. This show isn't for kids really. So like I don't feel that bad if people go out of their way and find out about some of these people. See, listen, Adam 22 is really, really well known as a podcaster in like the hip hop community. That's not really the problem. Yeah, his second career has become the adult industry.
He sounds like
he is.
Yeah, I don't listen to white rap podcasts.
Well, so he was I used to really respect him because he used to be the guy who would like interview people like XXXTentacion and like these like rappers before they blew up on like SoundCloud and stuff. Kind of how we do like independent wrestlers who like, you know, hopefully they blow up one day and we're able to get them before they blow up super big. He kind of did that in the rap industry for a long time, but his career has pretty much shifted to the adult industry. And like, that's where a lot of more of where the controversy is.
That's fine. If he just talks about adult industry stuff.
No, it's not just that.
Oh.
There's a whole set of lore about this that we don't have to get into that has nothing to do with pro wrestling.
Okay. It sounds like it's very pro wrestling.
I mean, there's elements of it that do seem, I guess, kind of like pro wrestling.
Is he part of like orgies or something?
So Powder Finishers got it right. They all do. Everyone in the chat that's talked about it is accurate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's sitting in the chair. His wife is also in the industry. We'll put it that way.
He just likes to watch.
His wife was in the industry before he got into the industry, and now it's not just them doing stuff. And listen, to each his own. People can do whatever they want. I'm not judging anybody, but there's not just that. There's also things related to his podcast that have made him really controversial as well in recent years. But like, I don't even dislike the guy that much.
Problematic.
Yeah. So, Louisville says basically La Parka. Yeah, the chairman of that's funny. We can talk about iDubbbz also if people want to. Anyways, he's actually the guy who used to run Creator Clash.
Oh, that's how I know that name. Okay. Yeah, I can't actually.
Well, actually, him and his wife, Anissa, who was probably the worst fight promoter in the history of fight promoting.
Is it more cucking?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, we got to get Joel on to talk about cucking.
What? Wait, what?
No, I'm kidding. That's a joke on the morning show, but I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure Joel does not partake in that in that way. It is a bit. Yeah, it is not a real thing. Like apparently these people, it is a real thing with. No.
And listen, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not judging anybody. But when you're a public figure and you have a history of like saying certain things and doing certain things, and then like turns out you're doing it, you know what I mean? Like there's layers to these things. It's not as simple as just like you're a cuck. It's like you've said a lot of stuff that now you're that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, dude. Anyways, we can we can move on.
So anyway, MJF uses a knockoff Rolex here.
Yeah.
And then he had to sit in a chair. Bobby Lashley's going to sit him down in this chair. And
yeah. Oh, man. Oh, so if you want to talk, remember when Bobby Lashley and Lana were together on WWE and Rusev was in the chair?
Yeah.
See, it all comes full circle with the Hurt Syndicate and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
That was a really bad storyline at WWE. See, this kind of storyline doesn't work ever in any situation. Nobody comes out the winner in these situations. It was such a bad storyline for Rusev. Like, what a bad storyline to have to be a part of.
I think this is all a swerve. I kind of hope it's a swerve because they spent a lot of time getting MJF to this point, and then to just end it after a couple of weeks in this manner feels a little lame. And I like the chemistry he had with Hurt Syndicate too. Like, those were some funny segments between them all. I think there was more there with those four. So to end it there feels a little, what was the point of any of this?
Right. No, I'm with you. Like, I don't think that they're going to end it this quickly. But Shelton was pretty convincing, in his dislike of MJF in the promo last night, or in their conversation last night about the fake Rolex. I'm just going to call that getting Aaron carded from now on if we ever refer to giving somebody fake jewelry in another storyline ever again. See, that would never happen to Cody. Cody has a real Rolex. Everyone saw him get it. Everyone knows where it comes from. Everyone knows it's the exact one that his father pawned off. But that would never happen with Cody. You want to talk about Cody and AEW? I see people talking about that a lot right now.
I mean, do you think Cody was disrespected?
I don't think he's being disrespectful. I think people are...
Well, of course you're going to defend Cody, though.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I think it's preposterous for people to think that he had nothing to do with, like, founding AEW. Like, he had a lot to do with founding AEW. People don't even understand, especially these newer fans. People don't even understand.
It's a 5-year-old company.
No. Okay, even going back to when Cody left the WWE. Okay, that was 2017-ish.
Oh, you're supposed to know this as the Cody historian.
I know it was May 22nd because it happened on my birthday. I do remember that.
You don't know the year though?
2017 is my guess.
I think you're wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 2016. Let's see.
Oh, you might be
knows
right.
Cody Rhodes better. Fake Cody Rhodes fan.
It was May 22nd. It was
Stephen Jensen.
It was definitely on May 22nd. Was it 2016?
Fake Cody Rhodes fan Stephen Jensen said stupid. 2017 when it was 2016. I, the true Cody Rhodes fan, who has always believed in Cody Rhodes, who has never said a bad thing about Cody Rhodes, I knew when he left WWE.
I gave you the date. I gave you the actual date.
Who cares about the date when you don't know the year?
I was off by 1 year. My point is...
You're wrong.
My point is, okay, it doesn't... It's year's actually pretty... Well, it's relevant, but it's not... Anyway.
It's very relevant. It's more relevant than the
date. You don't even know what I'm about to say. You don't even know what I'm about to say.
I know I'm right.
Okay, so when Cody left the WWE in 2016, on May 22nd, 2016, people have to understand the landscape of wrestling at that point was like, if you were a free agent with a big name, especially if you were just coming out of the WWE, if you went to TNA, like you signed with TNA, you had some sort of like contract with TNA. If you went to Ring of Honor, you had you signed a deal with Ring of Honor. You went to New Japan, you signed a deal with New Japan. When Cody left the WWE, he was like the first guy that wasn't signing exclusive deals with these companies and really changed the game from that perspective, where he shows up in TNA. He does that list, first off, with all these names on it. And then he goes to TNA. He's over there. All of a sudden, he's over in Ring of Honor. All of a sudden, he's over in New Japan. He's like this massive free agent that's floating around everywhere. And then other wrestlers start saying, wait a second, you're allowed to do that? Like, you can just do that without, like, people will book you in these companies without needing the contracts. So other people start doing it too. And that's now become pretty standard for a lot of wrestlers. Someone like Matt Cardona, for instance. I know he has obviously deals with different companies, but he pops up everywhere. When Cody did that, that wasn't the norm. He was like the only one doing that. And he also never had an indie career before his WWE career. So he had never done the indie scene or anything outside the WWE. He went from high school wrestling to trying to act for like a year in California, straight to OVW. And from there, the rest is history. So the reason this is important is because around that same time is also when, parallel to all of this, the Bullet Club is getting super hot. And they're selling merchandise at Hot Topics and all this stuff. And Cody is a part of that group. The American Nightmare thing is genius. Like, it works out perfect, because for people that don't know, that was originally, that was like all the Bullet Club members had, like, it was like whatever their thing was on their shirt. You had like, I almost said someone, I hate that that's the first thing that comes to mind. Anyways, the Bucks would have like, the Young Bucks would have their own. Yeah. And like, Hangman had his own one and stuff like that. And Cody had his made, and his was American Nightmare, and it had the red, white, and blue inside of it with his logo. And anyway, that also BTE becomes wildly successful online. So it was a perfect storm of all of these things, but Cody was a big part of that. Cody was a big part of this stuff getting so hot in all these companies. It wasn't him solely. It was not just him. I've never, ever said it was only Cody. And this doesn't exist, by the way, without Tony Khan and his money either. Like, that's the main thing. That's the main reason AEW can exist, is because Tony Khan funded it and had connections to the Turner networks and could get it on TV. Because if he couldn't do that, then he wouldn't be able to get Chris Jericho and so on and so forth. Like, so it's more than just Cody. I'm not that ignorant to say it, but for people to get butthurt over the stuff he recently said is completely ludicrous to me. All these people that think, like, I've seen people saying some really out of pocket stuff about Cody the last couple of days. And it's like, I just don't understand how, for one, we don't know what was said to him or anyone close to him or whatever happened between him and whoever in AEW. We don't know what happened. So for all we know, it's way worse than what Cody's let on. But at the same time,
it's bad because Cody likes to do this stuff. But even if it's not as bad, what has Cody said that's so bad? Like, I think he's handled it about as professionally as you can. He's asked questions when he does interviews. He's never once went into details about why he left, and he's constantly saying that he's amicable. Like, he's not trying to burn bridges with the company, but clearly but you don't even need to. He doesn't even need to say it. Duh. Obviously something happened. I mean, why else would he have left? It doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, he felt disrespected in his own company. And you can say, well, it wasn't just him. Yeah, it wasn't just him, but he was one of 4 EVPs when the company started. A lot of it was him. If you ask a lot of the wrestlers who wrestled for AEW back then, especially the younger ones that didn't have any TV experience, who do you think they were going to for advice behind the scenes over and over about this stuff? Sure, the Young Bucks and Kenny and them, I'm sure they helped in their own ways also. But Cody was the only one in this whole group who had exposure for a decade in the WWE and saw how they did it, and is the son of Dusty Rhodes, one of the most notorious bookers in the history of professional wrestling, who has the family lineage. Like, there's to think that Cody Rhodes wasn't valuable to AEW is hilarious. And then it's ultra hilarious when you look at what he's done since he left. Because the WWE took the exact package that AEW had, put it on their television screen, and he's the biggest babyface in wrestling since John Cena. So obviously something happened, and regardless of what it was, Cody's being pretty respectful about it. And I honestly, my honest thought is, if you're defending this hard, I don't think you want to know why Cody left. Because for all we know, he has a damn good reason that he left. And maybe he's being the cool one about this whole thing. You know, I don't know. And if it had to do with Brandy, it had to do with Brandy. You know, I don't know if it did or not. But, like, even if it did, so you don't think he's going to stick up for his wife if that had anything to do with it? Of course you would. Anyone would. Like, I just think it's hilarious that people would think that he's like, he turned his back on these people. They turned his back. Did you hear the crowd before he left? He was getting booed out of his own buildings. Of course, he's like, I'm out of here.
Even if it was that alone, even if it had nothing to do with anything else, anything behind the scenes. Let's say that he got along perfectly with Tony Khan, you got perfectly with the Young Bucks and everyone. Say you got perfectly with everyone behind the scenes. I think it's enough reason for him to want to leave that it's like, guys, I'm getting booed out of the building everywhere we're at. I see myself as a good guy, or we got to do something about this. But like, my contract's coming up, and like this, what I'm doing here is valuable, you know. And obviously, it was because it's doing gangbusters in the WWE right now. So, yeah.
So Hangman Page successfully defended the title against Jon Moxley on Dynamite. Yes. What did you make of this match?
Solid match. I was surprised that it went on when it did, but I liked that it went on when it did because it made you not like, it didn't like box you into like I know that AEW does the overruns anyways, but you know what I mean? Like if you do it something at the end of the show, you kind of have an idea of kind of like when it has to end. With a match like this, it was like either we're going to get like an hour-long plus match or, you know, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I thought it was solid. And I think Hangman is like speaking of Cody Rhodes, if you guys want to go back and watch old interviews of Cody's from when AEW was starting, he was Team Hangman from day one, from day negative, whatever, from before AEW even existed. He was constantly talking in interviews about how Hangman Page was going to be the guy. Like he saw him as the face of a company. Like, and he was totally right about that. And Hangman's where he is. I'm not saying because of Cody, but like Cody would agree. Like people who think that he hates AEW, his guy is their champion. Like, and Hangman's doing a great job. He's killing it. I'm very happy for him. He still has, I hope he has a long reign. And I like that MJF is being teased as probably the first real challenge of his. They have history with one another. It's probably another reason the Hurt Syndicate probably won't break up or turn on him because it makes it more interesting. The odds are way more stacked against Hangman if there's the threat of the Hurt Syndicate helping MJF. I also like that Hangman is basically forcing MJF to either use the contract or actually, you know, earn his way to a title shot. And part of that is having to beat Mark Briscoe next week. And that's a match that I think is going to be really good and a match that reportedly MJF has wanted one-on-one, like for some sort of stakes for a while now. So, you know, so all good stuff. And the it's all trickled down from Hangman being the champion right now. So, yeah. And the match was good. And I don't know where they go with the Death Riders from here.
I think that's the fun of what's next. Like they're gonna face Darby. Like that's the obvious answer.
Sure,
it's Darby. Does Claudio question Moxley because he can't get it done? Like, does Moxley? I still feel like Moxley's gonna be the leader because he's beaten Darby before, and Darby needs to get that back on Moxley, and I think he wants to get that back on Moxley, not just Claudio and Yuta. So I think they face just Darby for the time being, and then after that, we'll see what they have. But they've got a ready-made feud with Darby already.
Yeah, I guess that's obvious. I guess I was just thinking like Darby versus all of them. He'll probably need some help, but maybe they kind of go the Sting route with this, which would make a lot of sense considering he's been Thunder Sunned as the new Sting and kind of take them down himself. Eventually take down Mox. It would have been a bit more effective if he was the one winning the title from Mox, but we've talked a lot about how Hangman was the right guy to do it when he did it. So the way that things have worked out, and at least for Mox, like that's interesting and it'll be good. Like I'd rather the Death Riders be doing that than like Mox also doing that while simultaneously like holding up the AEW championship. Now that that's not a part of this, I think I'm going to like the Death Riders better kind of regardless of what they do.
Look, Moxley's having great matches. He had that stretch where there was some not so good stuff and the feuds weren't good. I'm not going to rewrite history, but the street fight, whatever it was against Cope, where it was essentially no DQ, that was a really good match. The Swerve match was good. The two Hangman matches, I thought last night's match was different than the All-In match, but still great in its own way. it wasn't going to top the All-In match. There was too much emotion, too much story, and too much meat on that All-In match for it to top that. But for what they had to work with, it was really strong. It was a really strong television match. So that was good stuff. And I think him and Darby's going to be good because Darby bumps his ass off, and Darby's a madman, and Moxley's cool with that. So we're going to get good stuff out of those two.
And they have, people might forget, like, those guys were allies, like, day one AEW, like, to have to fight off the inner circle. Like, Darby and Moxley have always been somewhat connected to one another, like, throughout all these years of AEW. So there's a lot they can pull from and they can do. And that's one thing that I really like about AEW also is guys like Tony Khan and Will Washington that are like these like wrestling savant types that can like pull, names and dates and stuff like out of their heads. Like I can't do it like that. And,
clearly you can't even remember what year Cody left WWE.
I gave you the date. I was off by 1 year and I gave you the date, dude.
Still had the year wrong.
Anyways, my point is that I would imagine that the history between Darby and Moxley will not be forgotten based on the people that I know that pay attention to this stuff, that have influence in the company, which I like as a fan.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the WWE spotlight.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
WWE SummerSlam 2-night extravaganza. Night 1, most likely to be headlined by Gunther and CM Punk. Does CM Punk capture his first world championship in over a decade in WWE on Saturday?
No. Next match. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So the big question obviously is Seth Rollins actually hurt or not? Because if he is not truly injured or was not injured as badly as what people thought or whatever the case is, if Seth Rollins can go at SummerSlam, then I think this is where Seth Rollins cashes in to prevent CM Punk from winning the championship. Otherwise, I don't think that they would do this, but otherwise I would have Gunther choke out CM Punk in the middle of the ring and people just kind of leave them almost like the Goldberg match, where I know more people expected Goldberg to lose that match, obviously, but like the same type of feeling where it's just like, it's the same type of feeling when Gunther beat Jey Uso to win the title back recently. Just what's one of my favorite things about Gunther as a on-screen character is that he's really well protected and he's so good and he's so believable that he can just straight up beat really good wrestlers, and everyone's just kind of left there to be like, yeah, makes sense. It's Gunther. Shit. And I would kind of like that, where it's just like CM Punk has this great match against Gunther. It's back and forth. Looks like CM Punk's going to win. And Gunther just chokes his ass out. And everyone's like, damn. Okay, Gunther's just that guy. Like, I wouldn't be mad about that at all. Because you can always put a title on CM Punk or turn him heel at some point or build him to a WrestleMania title win or something. Like, he doesn't have to win the title at some. I expect CM Punk to be a WWE champion, either the world champion or WWE champion, whatever, at some point during this last run. I totally expect that. But it doesn't necessarily have to be here. And I really like I really like Gunther as a champion. I mean, that's pretty much what he is too. It's like part of his gimmick is like, even going back to the indie scene, but even more recent, like just his whole WWE run, pretty much the whole time he was in NXT UK, he was the world champion there. When he gets up to the main roster, he was either been the Intercontinental Champion or the world champion, like the entire time. His character just works best when he's that guy at the top that people are trying to beat. And I'd personally love to see Gun. I also, by the way, I liked CM Punk's, I liked their back and forth on Monday. It was mainly Punk, talking about Gunther, but I liked the feud for or whatever you want to call it. I feel like the build hasn't been like super long because they have these shows so often, these big shows back to back to back, But yeah, nonetheless, my actual prediction though is that Seth Rollins is going to win the championship. I think Seth Rollins cashes in and stops Punk from winning.
Okay. I could see that. We're going to certainly know more about Seth this weekend if he is or isn't as injured as we think he is, because there's been nothing on him. And he got the evaluation after Saturday night's main event. That was July 12th. And they said a couple more weeks he'll get another evaluation because there was too much swelling. And then, well, it's been a couple of weeks and we've heard nothing about it. So if he shows up, obviously we know that he was not as injured. And if he doesn't show up, then maybe things are sadly not as good for Seth as this whole thing is being a work. I'm going to go with Punk. And maybe Seth cashes in after, but I'm going to go with Punk.
Okay. Yeah.
The most likely co-main event, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed.
I like the matchup. I love the ending of Raw this past week, where Breaker or Braun, where they just annihilated those guys. And when Bronson Reed took Roman Reigns' shoes, I was like, this is one of the best things I've seen a heel group do in a while. Like, this is great. You know, it's very believable too with these guys because obviously they're big and athletic. My only concern with Braun Breaker is I just hope he doesn't like become too one-dimensional, but like he's still so new and he's got Paul Heyman with him. Obviously there's big plans for him, and I hopefully for Bronson Reed also. I like Bronson Reed when he was in between WWE runs also as Jonah. Like he showed a lot of promise in TNA and New Japan. Like I like both those guys a lot. I'd really love it if they actually beat Roman Reigns and Jey Uso because I think it'd do a lot of good for them, especially if Seth isn't going to be around. Like if Seth is out, you can't really have these guys looking like losers with Paul Heyman, I think. But I am going to pick Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to win. It's just too much of like I don't think you can beat Roman this often. Like I know he doesn't wrestle that often, but like he lost last year's WrestleMania, he lost this year's WrestleMania. Like it's him and Jey Uso is like almost like a super team. Now Jey Uso is on this new level that, you know, he wasn't on the last time these guys were together. They're both, you know, both championship level guys and stuff. And especially Braun to beat the shit out of them on Monday. And I can't imagine that they just go over these guys at the pay-per-view also. So, yeah, I'm going to take Roman Reigns and Jey Uso.
I kind of think Braun and Bronson are going to win. And they're going to pin Jey. I don't think Roman's taking the L, but I could see Jey taking the L. It does stand to reason that, all right, Roman and Jey got beat up on Monday. They get the win back here. But there's clearly something there with Bronson and Braun. And having them lose here, you kind of lose that. Unless Seth is back and Seth is going to win the title, and then the loss makes a little bit more sense because, okay, Seth is back and he's the champion still with the group and things are fine. But if Seth is not back, then I think it makes more sense for Braun and Bronson to win. And I'm working under the assumption Seth is not going to be back. I could be wrong. I partially expect him to return at some point this weekend, but I'm going to work under the assumption that this is a real injury. And so that's how I'm playing things out in my head.
Gotcha. I imagine Roman Reigns gets his shoes back. If not, I think that would be a great storyline for like a one-on-one match with Roman and Bronson, where like maybe Bronson
shoes on a telephone pole.
Yeah, yes, the like Mike match.
Yeah.
The winner gets the shoes that were electrocuted and can make you ball out like Jordan.
Yeah.
I think that a singles match though between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed would be really good actually, especially if Roman Reigns won and then like eventually like a little later we got like the bigger match between Breaker and Reigns, you know, like maybe kind of set that up with Reigns beating Bronson, getting his shoes back, you know. I don't know where this leaves Jey Uso. They need to be really careful. It goes without saying, everyone who follows any of this already knew all this stuff before on Real, but like they were echoing a lot of the stuff that I was saying on the show for a long time about Jey Uso. Like, he just has to be booked very, very specifically and protected really, really well. Because like his actual matches, for the most part, his matches with Gunther have been good, but like for the most part, his like singles matches haven't been great. His one against his brother, everyone knows, was the worst match of WrestleMania last year. But like, he's still so over, and you don't want to like lose the how over he is with the crowd. So like, you just have to. And you also can't have him like losing all the time either. Like, I guess I'm interested to see where Jey Uso goes from here too, coming out of this. I'd imagine he'll take on either Breakker or Bronson Reed, like one-on-one coming out of this or something too. But I don't know.
Judgment Day, Raquel and Roxanne against Charlotte and Alexa for the women's tag team titles.
I mean, I'd personally like to see the Judgment Day hold on to them, but I feel like at some point Charlotte and Alexa are probably going to win the titles. Because otherwise, I don't know what you do with either of them for the foreseeable future.
It looks like Charlotte and Alexa are a more long-term pairing, and I'd like them with the titles here. But maybe they delay it. Maybe they still do. We're still not like on the same page type of thing. We got to still make amends and improve our friendship before we can win these titles.
Is Liv back yet?
No, she probably not for a little while.
I kind of like, storyline wise, it would make the most sense to keep the titles on Judgment Day until she's back. But
yeah.
But also, like I said, I don't know what you do with Charlotte or Alexa. Because both of them too, like Alexa's in like no man's land. But she's like in this world like between gimmicks, it feels like, where she's always over, but like she doesn't really fit into like any of the title pictures. And Charlotte Flair, similar to Gunther, her gimmick is basically being a champion. So like, if she's not going to be the women's world champion on either show right now, which I don't think she necessarily should be, I feel like the women's tag titles is probably what they'd have her doing. So I could see a reason for both teams. To me, honestly, it depends on Liv's timeline. If it's like a while before Liv's coming back, I'd say Charlotte and Alexa are going to win here.
Okay. It's going to be a while for Liv, I'm pretty sure. It was a shoulder injury. It was still relatively recent. It was only maybe a month or two ago. It was in June, I think, maybe end of May. And it felt like it was at least like a 4-month thing. So I feel like she has at least another 2 months, probably even more than that. I try to see when the latest update was.
I'll go with Charlotte and Alexa. That's gonna be my pick.
All right. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul.
I mean, Jelly Roll's gonna win. So this is another, like, I'm not gonna get into all that. Like, I remember Jelly Roll when nobody knew who the fuck this guy was, because he was from like Hendersonville, Tennessee, when I was living in Nashville. Like, and this guy was, I can't believe how famous this guy has gotten. It's unreal to me. I mean, good for him. I don't know what he's gonna look like in the ring. Apparently, he's taking it pretty seriously. I know that he's gotten hit with like a claymore and stuff. I hope. I mean, people have surprised us. Obviously, Logan Paul being like a real exception, but even someone like Bad Bunny was like way better than I expected him to be. So like, in McAfee, like, there's a good example. Like, Jelly Roll could. What I'm expecting is Jelly Roll is going to hit like a Canadian Destroyer or like a 619. He'll do some sort of like really impressive move that like nobody would expect, and that might be like pretty much all he does, or, I don't know. But I'd imagine that Logan Paul is probably going to be the one taking the pin in this one. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Jelly Roll's team's going to win. So
yeah, they're probably going to get the win, the Jelly Roll. Sami Zayn against Karrion Kross.
I mean, the stipulation is that Sami Zayn has to say Kross was right.
Sure.
Yes, big storyline. Or on the flip side, Kross has to say I was wrong. So what's going to happen, I think Sami Zayn is going to do some sort of cheating. He's going to do kind of what Karrion Kross would have wanted him to do, to beat Karrion Kross. And then when Karrion Kross says, I was wrong, it's going to be acknowledging that it's almost like reverse psychology. You know what I mean? Where like, I was wrong, but I was right because you did what I've been telling you to do, but it worked against me, kind of thing. So that's my guess. I think Sami Zayn is going to do something like Karrion Kross would have wanted him to do against him, and it's going to cost Karrion Kross the match. Sami Zayn's going to win.
I think Sami's going to win. I do think there's a potential story if Sami like has to use the pipe and to beat Kross. So Kross still has to say, I was wrong, but if he uses the pipe, was he really wrong about Sami Zayn?
Right. That's what I said. Right. Wrong. Right. It's just confusing. I also, unless I've ever missed it, which is possible, but I'm still waiting for Karrion Kross to say, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. Like, that's like, he reminds me so much of like Sean O'Hare, Devil's Advocate gimmick which was a great gimmick that was like seriously underutilized back then. So I like that about Karrion Kross. That like he reminds me kind of like the character we never got to see from Sean O'Hare. So
yeah, we'll see. Allegedly, Kross has not re-signed, but I don't feel like he's in this spot unless there's some sort of a deal agreed to. Maybe he just loses straight up, and this is his send off, and that's that. You know, we'll see. And Tiffany Stratton against Jade Cargill for the women's championship.
Jade, go with my girl. You know, I hope the match is solid. It's two wrestlers that I like, but that still in the grand scheme of things are still like relatively new. I know Jade's been around for a while now. I mean, if you go back to her time in AEW, but she was super protected. She was used a very specific way, which worked really well. I love Jade Cargill in AEW. And I feel like Jade makes the most sense for upcoming stories and stuff too, potentially. And also, I don't think that you want to have her lose a bunch to eventually win. Like, you know, it's kind of cool too, because like these two women are like definitely like that next generation. Obviously, Tiffany's already the champion, but she's very new in the grand scheme of things also. So I'm going to go with Jade winning the title here, coming off the Queen of the Ring.
I think Jade will probably win. We'll see how this match goes, because
it's a wild card of it could go a lot of different ways. Like, as much as I love Jade, she isn't always the smoothest, and not everything always goes perfect, you know. And Tiffany, very new still. I mean, like,
Tiffany hasn't shown she can like lead a match, and neither is Jade. And now you're putting them in there against each other. I think
sink or swim, though. I mean, if they kill it, that's awesome for them. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge thing if they kill it.
All right, night 2. Start from the bottom. 6-pack TLC match. The Wyatt Six, Andrade and Rey Fenix, DIY, Fraxia, Motor City Machine Guns, and Street Profits for the tag team titles.
I mean, the Wyatt Six like just recently won the titles, right?
Yeah.
If they were going to take the titles off, then this would be like the type of match to do it, because they wouldn't have to like get pinned or whatever. But I don't know. Andrade and Phoenix seems kind of random. I know that they have been teaming, but like, I don't know. I like most of the teams here though. Like, I really like. It's funny because I like Fraxium individually, but like they do work well as a tag team. But like, I think like there's a bigger future. Nathan Frazier is like a singles wrestler. I thought it was funny. I had no idea about the Blake Christian thing until I saw that from In the Weeds about Blake Christian was apparently going to be the original Axiom. For people who might not remember, he was Trey Baxter, and I was covering him on like 205 Live as Trey Baxter back then. And A-Kid was Axiom. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Like, this is a complete toss-up for me because they hot potato these titles so much that, like, you know, I'm gonna say that the Wyatt Six don't retain just because, like, if you're gonna have them lose, they like you can do it here without any of them getting pinned. I don't know who makes the most sense beyond that, so I'm gonna randomly take Street Profits were the champions before the Wyatt Six, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's a totally random pick. I'm just gonna say Motor City Machine Guns because I like them the most.
Okay. I think it's gonna be Andrade and Phoenix. I think they're high on that team, and they may have won the titles on Friday if they didn't go into the TLC match. So I'm gonna go with Andrade and Phoenix. Dominic against AJ for the Intercontinental title.
I think Dominic retains. I think this match is gonna be fire though. And I saw some. I don't know who was reporting it or whatever, but I see more and more about like Dominic's gonna be challenging for the AAA Mega title soon, right?
Yes.
And if he wins that, which I could see happening, I'm interested to see how that. Obviously, they're not going to take him off WWE TV. He's like way too valuable to the WWE currently, and like he's one of their biggest heels. Like, obviously, don't take Dominic off TV, but I would be interested to see him if he also became the Mega Champion, if he was the IC Champion at the same time. I'd like to see AJ Styles in like a program for like one of the world titles more than I'd like to see him in the Intercontinental title scene personally. No reason to take the title off Dominic. I'm going to say that he retains, and it's going to be some sort of dirty finish. Like he's not going to just straight up beat AJ Styles one-on-one in just like a pro wrestling match. But I think the actual match is going to be really good, and Dominic will come out with the title.
I think AJ is going to win, and to piggyback off of Judgment Day losing the titles, then Finn Balor is going to take more of the reins and be like, see, I'm the only person with gold. Now I'm calling the shots. Like I should have been calling the shots all along, but we had all the championships. You guys lost. We gotta refocus here. You guys gotta listen to me more and not worry about everything else going on. That's my story anyway.
I think that's a good story. That would make sense.
I could also just see Dominic winning, and I don't have an issue if Dominic wins.
Dominic rules.
Dominic's great. So yeah, I'm just throwing out a hypothetical fantasy scenario there of Judgment Day losing some gold and Finn Balor taking more of the reins with the group.
But if JD's like, but I'm also the champion, I should be in charge.
Right, and that's the power trip of Finn Balor. He's like, of course, we're champions together. And, you know, they just happen to be the champions, but he is too blinded to see he is suffering from the same thing all of them were suffering from, of losing focus. But maybe that's too layered. I don't know.
I still think the best line ever would be if Finn Balor looked JD McDonough straight in the eyes and told him he was stolen Balor. I think that'd be the funniest thing, the funniest play on words, because he looks so much like. I know he's differentiated the look a little bit in recent years, like growing his hair out and stuff. And JD McDonough is a very good performer in his own right. He's very, very good. But I'll never forget, like when he came into WWE, he looked it was a Finn Balor clone. And those guys will always be linked to each other because obviously Finn Balor trained him and everything from the same area. But anyways, Stolen Balor, I think, is a great line. Anyways, we move on.
Solo Sikoa against Jacob Fatu, U.S. titles, cage match.
This one I'm actually pretty torn on because personally I like to see Jacob Fatu like continue to get pushed, whether that's with the U.S. title or not. Like obviously there's big plans for him in the future. Dude's super over. He's only going to get more over. Outside of Roman, I think he's going to be the biggest star of that family, probably, at least of the ones we've seen up to this point on WWE TV out of that whole bloodline. I think storyline wise and everything, it makes more sense for Solo to win and hold on to it, mainly because he has this whole, his new bloodline or whatever behind him. It gives him something to defend that the rest of them can continue to like have to help him, retain and stuff like that. And then you can always at some point get into the infighting within the group again and stuff like that, if at some point inevitably. But like I just feel like Jacob's fine either way. Solo in all honesty came across like a giant loser, like in between the original bloodline ending and like recently. Like he was just losing anything that mattered. Now he's at least got the US championship and a team of people that can help him hold on to the title. So, and it's a steel cage. So like Solo could win by like escaping the cage, for instance. And like, it doesn't hurt Jacob at all. with his credibility. So I'm going to say Solo Sikoa retains.
Get ready for a cage match with a bunch of run-ins.
Well, and definitely a moonsault from Jacob. Like Jacob's going to do a moonsault off that cage for sure. He can't do the double jump. That'd be real impressive if he did a double jump or a triple jump from like the middle rope to the top turnbuckle to the top of the cage.
That would be, yes.
He might be impossible.
Hurt himself on that one.
Get you the Sin Cara trampoline and pop on up there.
I'm gonna go with Jacob. I think just get the title back on him.
I think it's badass that they sell his there's like Fachu jerseys that look like the Raiders jerseys and stuff. Like he's super marketable, this dude. Yeah. And like I really like when you hear him behind the scenes and stuff, because like on screen he plays his character so well of just like this savage, right? Like this like unhinged, just like animal on TV. And then like when you see him behind the scenes, like he's joking around, he's giggling with people, he's like asking CM Punk for a selfie and stuff. Like he's I like Jacob a lot. So
Becky against Lyra for the women's Intercontinental title. No DQ, no count out.
Man, I feel like we've seen a lot of this. And also the main event is like the same stipulation pretty much, which is kind of weird. I mean, I will say this. I think this feud has done good things for Lyra because it's given her like immediate credibility on the main roster. I'm good with like, I know that this is pretty much the be all end all. Like this match is the end of the feud from what it looks like based on the stipulation and everything. I would have Becky win here again. I'd have her retain. Valkyria can't. It doesn't say that she can't challenge for the title ever again. It says she can't challenge Becky for the title ever again. So it's like a way to make sure this match doesn't keep happening over and over and over again, and they can both just move on to whatever's next for both of them. I would have Becky win.
I think Becky's gonna win as well. Naomi, Rhea, and Io for the women's world title.
I mean, I would see no reason to take the title off Naomi. So I'm going to say that she retains. How they wind up doing it, I'm interested to see. Obviously, it's a triple threat, so there's no disqualification. There's a lot of things that they can do. There's a lot of weapons or running. There's stuff you can do to have Naomi win this. Io and Rhea had an awesome match for the title until Naomi got involved to make it the triple threat. So this is technically a rematch of that match. But I think it's going to be great. Like I'm really looking forward to this one. Outside of, I mean, I'm biased obviously for the Cody Rhodes John Cena match, but outside of that match, on both shows, honestly, I'm probably looking forward to this triple threat more than anything on either show outside of maybe Gunther and Punk. So yeah, I'm going to say Naomi retains just because it's why take the belt off her right now? She's doing the best work of her career. She just recently won it, and there's a lot more you can do with this.
Yeah, I don't think they're taking the title off Naomi this quickly. I'm really looking forward to this match. It should be a great match. And finally, street fight for the undisputed WWE title. John Cena, Cody Rhodes. Go ahead. Say who you think's gonna win.
Cody Rhodes is gonna win.
Okay. All right.
Any thoughts?
I think Cody Rhodes is going to hit a crossroads. And he's going to pin John Cena. 1, 2. And we're going to hear
Travis Scott thing? Okay.
And Travis Scott will be back. The return of Travis Scott to cost Cody Rhodes once again.
I hate that so much.
John Cena wins.
I hate that so much.
Did you not? You watched Unreal? Travis Scott was the biggest star of the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, Cody put him over on Hot Ones today too.
Yeah. See?
He made it pretty clear that there's a receipt coming.
It's all setting up.
Setting up. The bigger question, right, is like, at what point is Cena gonna see the error of his ways and turn back? Because the clock is ticking now on the babyface turn.
Yeah, which is stupid. This heel turn has sucked. My true thought: John Cena wins straight up. It's a street fight, right? He can do whatever he wants. But he doesn't kick Cody in the dick like he's been doing. He doesn't use the title. He just beats him in a regular street fight rules. And then after the match, Cody shakes John Cena's hand. He says, that's what I wanted. I wanted the hustle, loyalty, respect. John Cena. I'm glad to see that man again. And then Cody kicks John Cena in the dick. And Cody turns heel. What about that?
So I'm potentially for the idea. I'm with it and I'm against it. On one hand, I think it's really, I can't stress this enough, really fucking stupid to turn Cody Rhodes heel right now. Like, I think it's like the dumbest fucking thing the company probably might ever do. Like, honestly, I think it's fucking so stupid. Such a stupid idea. You've waited so long for a white and meat babyface to come along that you could put in this position. And you tried so hard with Roman Reigns and it didn't work. And like, you tried with other people and Cody's actually your guy. You actually have him. Don't fuck this up. Like, don't turn him. Don't do it. On the other hand, if the story is, well, John Cena made Cody turn to the dark side, but then Cena almost by default is the baby face again, and the actual story winds up ending in December with their trilogy, and Cody beats Cena at the end, like babyface John Cena, but Cody also essentially is back babyface by the time it's over. Like, Cena's endorsing Cody at the end of it all. So like, Cena's done as a babyface, Cody's a babyface again that has the respect of John Cena, and like, everyone's a good guy by the time this ends, and Cena leaves, and like, the company is back in the hands of their good guy Cody Rhodes going forward. That's the only thing that makes sense. For Cody to be heel long term is about as stupid as finding out that like Kevin Owens like almost won the championship before WrestleMania and shit. Like there are some fucking stupid ideas that I did not think were gonna be like, when I heard some of those ideas from the best idea that they had was Dylan Hale's idea that they executed years ago at the SCI Rumble when AC Mack won the Rumble without doing anything. He came out at number 30 after everyone else had eliminated themselves, and he came out, got in the ring, and just won by default. That's a great idea that I do think that they will. Well, they might not do it now because like the cat's out of the bag. They put it on that show, but they do 2 Royal Rumbles a year. They could easily. I think that's a great finish for one Royal Rumble. You don't want to ever do it again, but one time, one Royal Rumble, that's a great finish. That was a good idea. A lot of the other stuff I heard from those writing readings, I was like, these are fucking bad ideas. Like, this is incredible. I was actually mind blown at how bad some of those ideas were. So anyways, from that perspective, and especially if The Rock is like dead set on turning Cody for whatever reason, or they want the story to be, well, Cody is going to sell himself to The Rock now after all this, which really doesn't make any sense. Because The Rock did nothing for John Cena. Like, he got him to turn, and then we didn't see The Rock again. So,
well, it's just business between those two, and they accomplished their business at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Well, I stand by. Listen, my prediction is Cody Rhodes. I think this starts the John Cena. Like, you've already seen glimpses of John Cena babyface turn again. Like, even in the CM Punk match, like, there were parts of the match where he could have like dick kicked him, or like could have used the championship and like didn't. That's also a big part of the story with Cody, was Cody wouldn't pull the trigger, and Cody wouldn't hit Cena with the title at WrestleMania, got kicked in the dick, got hit with the title himself, and lost the belt. At some point, you think the story is going to be Cody Rhodes is going to use the belt, and he's going to hit Cena with it. And from there, is it in a way that like turns Cody heel, or No, because now they're even. He gave him the receipt essentially. Like, you did it to me, I'm doing it to you. It cost me last time. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. And we all understand where he's coming from when he does it, and it doesn't turn him heel. So I still think we're going to get probably a trilogy between those two in Cena's last match. I can't imagine who Cena's last match is going to be if it isn't Cody still. So,
well, the trilogy is going to be with Cody Rhodes as the babyface, Cody Rhodes as the heel and John Cena as the babyface.
Once again, I'm okay with the idea of that if Cody essentially is a babyface again, like pretty much right when this is over. It makes no sense for him to be a long-term heel in the WWE. It's the dumbest business decision that they could. Because if you're not him, like, what do you do? Like, who do you put in that spot? You have nobody ready for that. He's not ever there. You can't say Roman. Who besides Roman? Let's assume Roman's not available, but 5 times a year. Brock Lesnar's not coming back, nor should he be that guy at this point for various reasons.
All right, I got you. I got the other guy. One word. 4 letters. Ooh. Yeah. That's your guy. I got your other guy. L.A.
I knew you were going to go there.
He's over.
He's so over. He's not even on SummerSlam.
Yeah, because they don't know they don't know what they're
doing. They got big plans for LA Knight.
He beat Seth Rollins and is just off TV. It's like, you clearly knew what you were doing there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, outside of that, I mean, obviously Jey Uso is very over. I'm not going to take away what he's accomplished. But I also, and you saw it in the Unreal thing. Like, I don't think you can rely on him to the same level you can Cody. Like, as like the top guy. Luckily for them, they have 2 brands and 2 belts. Like, Jey Uso can be that guy on one of the shows, but like, he is not Cody Rhodes level, at least not yet, when it comes to like the overall grand scheme of things. Nobody is.
Punk. I got CM Punk.
Yeah, but he's 45
he's doing all the media.
Whatever.
He's doing all the media and doing all the glad handing and all that fun stuff.
The only person I think you can look at on the current roster and be like, maybe him is like Braun Breaker, but you would have to have like a way. You'd have to build this for a while before that's even possible. Like, he has the athletic talent potentially. I still don't know why they would call him Steiner. They literally say he's a Steiner on TV. I still think that I still can't get over it.
It's just Breaker now. They're not going to revert to it.
Yeah, it just. But I mean, and I know this sounds really funny, and people might think I'm crazy, but like, I could totally see Dominic Mysterio as like one of those guys too. He kind of already is as like a bad guy, but like at some point he'll be like the top babyface in the company, and he's still super young. So like, they have some people that could potentially get in that spot at some point, but like, no one's ready, right? No one's ready within the next year to take Cody's spot. Like, no chance, no shot.
Roman Reigns.
He already had the spot that is now Cody's.
It's still his spot.
Man, he doesn't even have his own shoes. How's your top guy not even gonna be like, yeah, can't even get his kicks back? I'm surprised he take his socks.
What good are the socks? They don't need a sock. It's stinky.
It's just a flex.
Socks for?
It's just a flex. It's
okay.
It's like
I would respect that.
It's like when Jake Paul like took Mayweather's hat or took your hat.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's just,
yeah,
sending a message.
Yeah. How'd that go for Jake Paul?
Oh, I mean, he's doing fine now. He might be fighting like Anthony Joshua next, people are saying, which is insane. But like,
yeah, that's not a real fight.
But like, he's in this super weird no man's land now, where like he's beating real pro box, not very good pro boxers, but like at some point the next thing for him is going to be championship level fighters, because like he just smokes all the influencers and now he's beating actual boxers. So like, it's wild.
If I'm Anthony Joshua, I take that fight tomorrow. Like, I literally say, okay, let's fight tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Also, don't be surprised. I don't know what if like the clock has ticked to the end point or not with Bill Goldberg, but wasn't there supposed to be like an announcement or something from like 2 weeks from the Hawani show where he was gonna like drop bombs?
I don't think it was an announcement. It was just, I'll explain in 2 weeks. I said this, I had no insight, but this is my working theory. I think he's under some sort of contract until the end of July. And well, July ends tonight, so maybe we'll get something in the next couple of days where he talks more about it.
I'll tell you something off air.
Okay.
I don't think we've seen the last of Bill Goldberg.
Okay. I don't know if we have either.
No, so. I think people are probably speculating that we probably haven't based on his comments, but I would not be surprised if he has not wrestled his last match.
Right.
So,
all right. Anyways. Anything else, Jensen?
No, football's back.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. My fantasy football draft will be pretty soon. I've been killing it on the unnamed gambling sports things that I do that I can't name, but been doing very well the last few weeks on that, so I'm happy about that. Baseball's been treating me well. I'm super back in the MLB. I was like 20 years where like I didn't pay any attention to it, now I'm all in again. They're doing a lot of trades right now. It must be the deadline now.
Yeah, the trade deadline was today.
Yeah, I saw a whole bunch of trades going through. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just having fun watching these sports and enjoying my full body massage chair. Being the owner of one of those is definitely for me. And if you guys want to follow me on X, it's @FightTalk_. No interview this week. Obviously, if you didn't know by now, I'll book somebody for next week's show. We knew we would have a lot of stuff to talk about since we weren't here last week. So, Weekender podcast every Sunday or Monday, usually Mondays nowadays because of the indie wrestling schedule. It'll definitely be this Monday because of all the SummerSlam stuff over the weekend. Like, it wouldn't make any sense for me to upload in the middle of all that as you guys are getting spammed by Fightful Select notifications for SummerSlam all weekend. I don't want to slip my weekender in between all of that, and nobody even knows that I uploaded. So you'll get that on Monday, everybody. Monday night after my shoot job. But good to be back. Good to see you, Jeremy. Anything going on with you? Any news or anything noteworthy?
We have an interview tomorrow. It's 8 a.m. It'll be on youtube.com/Fightful with WWE Unreal director Chris Weaver. So Joel and I spoke to him today. That video interview premieres tomorrow at 8 a.m. on the Fightful main channel and Fightful.com. Otherwise, I'm busy. It's SummerSlam weekend. There's a lot going on. Cody Rhodes is saying a bunch of shit that I got to cover. So bless that man. He's got stories.
Oh, and also, if anybody out there knows the guy or can get me in contact with the guy or has any insight or any knowledge at all, there was a guy, it had to have been SmackDown this past week. There was a guy wearing a shirt. It was Cody Rhodes with braids. If anyone knows where to acquire that t-shirt, please let me know, because y'all know I love collecting Cody Rhodes stuff, and I will proudly... I know he probably just made it himself. But I mean, if anyone knows where to find those, or if anyone knows that guy, preferably that guy, I would love to be in contact with that exact guy and have him send me one of those. That would be that'd be appreciated. So,
yeah, I feel like he just made that shirt himself. He went down to the local print shop and was like, put this on a t-shirt, and they're like, okay.
Cody's reaction was great. He saw it, he was laughing. That's the Cody Raheem Rhodes lore. So, anyways.
All right, folks, we'll be back next week. Joel and I will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. A lot of stuff going on this weekend. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Watch SummerSlam. Don't watch SummerSlam. Watch whatever you're going to watch. Enjoy your weekend. Talk to y'all later on. All right.